Did you send us a link?
Probably not, and I'm being honest with you. I didn't come in till late, and it's been a blur.
Do you know what it happens to be?
It's on the town website. You wanna go there and just get it? That's probably the easiest way to do it.
No, all right.
Or here. I mean, this is it. Easiest way.
June.
We will not be having a meeting on the 16th. But we will see you on the 30th.
Jenny,
Well, how come they're only in June?
says the 16th right here.
I know.
Only has one meeting.
This came up this week, but you're off for next meeting.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
I just got.
Recording in progress.
July.
All right, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the regular planning board meeting for January 2nd, 2025. We have a quorum. Are there any updates to the
There
agenda?
are not.
We have the minutes from December 19th. If everybody's okay with them, I'd like to make a motion to accept them as is.
So moved.
Favor?
Aye.
Since this is a public hearing and we got a few minutes, might as well draw attention to the letter that Melissa wrote up about the Dunkin' Donuts.
Looks
Light.
good to me. I didn't see it.
It's right underneath your agenda. I
It's
gave you
a
a copy.
proposed letter to send to the town clerk.
Yep.
It says basically all the things that we were saying. It's bright, it's distracting, it's on an intersection, very distracting, and our town code calls for dark sky compliant light. So, not our town, but it's a letter to the Hurley.
We're getting blamed for it though,
Oh, good.
on a regular basis. Everybody looks at that and says, oh, it's in the town of Woodstock. Just over the line.
Not in the town. of Woodstock.
Everybody okay with that letter? Judy, have you read
Yes,
it?
it's fine.
Very good.
Send it.
Perfect. I'll send it.
Okay.
Minutes.
A little nice.
Just again, January 16th, no meeting. January 30th, we'll have a workshop. We'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, well, we've got a minute, but we'll start it. We have a public hearing for tonight. So, come on, this is Robert Ellender, Trust. This is Planning Board Case 24-0601A. Hearing for a subdivision application to subdivide a lot of 63.9 acres into 3 lots of 7.6, 8.0, and 48.3 acre lots in the R3 and Xenowood CEA overlay districts on Church Road. Jeff Jeffrey.
Jeff Hogan from Pretorius and Conrad, representing the client.
So I would like to make a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, well, is there anybody here for the public for this case? All right, if you could state your names and, or
Would
let
you
the
like-
applicant first tell us
Would
what,
you like to speak?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll let the applicant talk first. and
do
then-
you want to see on the map that he has?
Or you can look
It's
at
right
the
there.
one up there. The yellow outline is the property.
Do you want me to give a quick summary of what the project is?
Yes.
See this? Basically, Robert D. Lander's daughter, Kathy Nunn, who is the trustee of this estate, 60, Peter said 64, 65 West acres. And they're looking to subdivide 2 lots off at the southeasterly corner along Casino Highway. lots. Have frontage on main roads, there's no new single family housing. It's in R3, 3 acres, only different lots over 7.6 and 8.0. Break off 2 lots, I imagine you should probably.
I did send an email to them,
Can you give me your name?
Don, right? Don, 770 Xenahans Road, and directly across. my building.
Donna, do you want to come up and speak? We just need you to speak into the microphone. You did send an email and I got it. Donna's concern was that there was some sort of easement from Elander.
You were not able to find anything historically for that. Because when we bought our property in 1975, Robert Elander Sr. told us that he had given that acreage that now is being subdivided to some kind of a green bill or something where he could get a tax break. And for all these years, almost 50 years, we've been under the assumption that that would never be changed. So you have not been able to find anything.
It's not listed any sort of conservation way. It's not listed anything.
Not in the deeds.
It's not, yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's not in the deeds, it's not in the records.
I don't know whether he had a verbal agreement with some conservation group, but he did state that he was going to receive tax breaks for leaving that wild for all these years. Okay.
Probably never happened, I guess.
What was the status of the property?
In a trust.
But it was a farm.
No, there's all kinds of trusts.
Right,
I mean, my house is in a trust. Doesn't necessarily mean anything.
right, exactly. But I'm saying, like, yeah, there was no red flag for. I didn't.
Yeah,
come up
we
with
went- we
anything.
went
We
through
didn't
the
come up with
deeds
anything.
for all
They would have done
properties
the
and-
deeds.
We didn't
Okay.
see
Yeah,
anything
that's-
listed.
Well, that was my question for tonight.
Sure, sure.
That
And I think that-
confusion, because like I said, for almost 50 years, we've lived under the assumption that that would be forever wild.
And I believe Kathy mentioned that she had heard there was that kind of what was rumor happened. She was not aware of anything.
Well, I did call them and they never really returned my call or spoke
There's
to me about
nothing
it. So,
documented
okay.
to deter this from happening.
All right. Thank you.
Are there tax records, do the tax records show the tax rate? Easy to be found.
They went through the deeds.
I thought I had the map on my computer, but I don't. So I remember looking at it. The way it's divided is about as
It would have came up.
I mean, it would have to be
delicate to the
a
land
written
as you could
easement.
do.
It would have to, if a
Yeah.
conservation group or anybody would have to be a written easement.
I mean, the IRS have to have some kind of official document.
Kathy said it was
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
right?
Or anything. I'm not even aware of what.
Yeah, I thought I kept it, but.
Yeah.
Go
But
in,
I,
yeah,
she has no
so
tax
it's
rate
like-
on it.
Not that
That's
I
my
know
You'll
of.
get a
point.
one-time.
There was nothing
Yeah,
recently.
right.
Right, but they get a contract,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
So the BO,
it'd be on the deed.
yeah, I mean, it would be an official thing, you'd have to literally sort of sell that.
For any
property
kind
to
of
the
a tax
conservator.
break, yeah.
You'd kind of sell it to do that. You would really keep it.
I don't know that that's true, but if they're getting any kind of tax break, the tax assessor's office would have to know.
Well, Be a one-time thing they would get, like for the land of the conservancy. Building your, part of your property for that, and then you get a forever one tax break for it, right?
But that,
That that would change almost the ownership on the deed.
As I remember talking to the assessor when I was working on some of this stuff, there are things that don't show up to me that they are aware of, but the assessor's office is aware of anything like that.
Probably somebody had an idea to do and never got done.
And I work pretty closely with the assessor when they come in. And because it came in under Kathy's name, I went, because it's a trust, so I go and I double check who's the name, you know, I mean, everything, I got documentation from Kathy. I feel like I would have been prompted at that point too, if there was something else. And I looked like he did, I mean, I'm sure he did more thorough work than I did, but I looked through and I didn't see anything, that's why I didn't.
Okay. All right, that clears up some.
Michael, do you
Mystery?
want to speak or?
No, I have
it was
no,
just,
well, I guess I was just asking if Pat knows if she's gonna build and sell lots. I believe she's planning on putting these both on board. Right. She'll retain them anyway.
The way the lots are set up, it looks like the houses will be behind the ridge that runs along.
I can clarify
first
that.
ridge, yeah.
a bit.
Because it's a really, really high ridge.
Yeah, I
I
think
know that property very
they
well.
should fall pretty much on the top of the ridge. They may have the ability to get a little bit of mountain view once they're up top before it's on the ridge. Excuse me?
oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
this is
there's a
only in
higher-
front of the planning board for subdivision. So the subdivision happens here, which they've already, this has met Vulcan regs, has went through perk tests, has been done by a surveyor, you know, legal to the town's code, and then when they do go to be built, exact process, like through the building department, single family residence, just be through the building department.
Yeah, the houses are about 40 feet above the level of the
They're,
road.
the lot sizes that they went with are larger than what they're recommended. They are in R3 and they could have came to us on that whole
Yeah, I
property with
appreciate
our.
that very much, that they're large properties. Just that
I know the
they-
land has been vacant for a long time and I think everybody's like, oh, yeah,
As far as the farm itself is concerned, that going to stay status quo.
As far as I know, they haven't asked me to do anything on the big property. or said, "Do anything with the Property, they just basically came to me and said, this is what we'd like to do as part of it to generate. Immediately with the rest of it. I mean, they do have the right to build a house on the rest of it. Have to get done with that, they decided to just build the same house. Back to split it again.
yeah,
The same
whole new
process,
application, the same
yeah.
process. yes.
Is there any calls?
So I had quite a few because it's a lot of land. It's almost 70 something. It is over 70 acres. So yes, but I had, Donna's email was the only one that had an actual question. Everyone else reviewed the map and said, okay, makes sense to me. Wow, they're leaving a lot of land, you know, so there was no. And I did do some research on Donna's question. That's what I sent it to. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Board members have any questions? Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember how big those two pieces are.
One's 8.
7.1 and, or
8.
7.6 and 8.
Okay,
And
Oh,
they only
yeah.
have to be 3.
and they're in R3, so theoretically, they could
So-
subdivide again, but the way they're putting the houses, that's
Yeah.
very, very unlikely.
Yeah, and I think with the septic and the way it's laid out, that's actually why they wanted to do 2 acre lots, and I said, I can't do 2 acre lots out there. I really need to build this
Yeah,
septic.
we talked about, I think the first time you were here, maybe after the site visit, the topography and how like this survey really, you really did this survey to the topography of the land.
Yeah, and that was my
Kudos.
impression too. They're making the hardscape as minimal as you really can.
And to keep some privacy between them also.
All right, if there's no further comments from the public, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
So
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so.
Approve the application.
Yes, the next step is to make a motion to approve the application pending draft resolution.
So moved.
All in favor for that?
Aye.
All right, so
Thank you.
you,
Analyze everything. And
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff.
okay. All right. Our next applicant is a sketch plan review. It's Keller Parker, and it's a wetlands and water course permit. A sketch plan review of a wetlands and water course permit application to construct an addition to an existing dwelling within the buffer located within the R3 zoning district at 124 Mountain Laurel Lane in Woodstock. And
I'm Jimmy
Oh,
Chris.
okay.
That's
All
my
right.
associate, Jessica Senator.
let's
And
try to
mine, Kelly Parker, who lives there.
show the board what you're planning.
Well,
Ms. Parker came to our office looking to make her house a little bit more livable on one level. Wanted to expand her kitchen, it's a very small kitchen, wanted to get a bedroom on the first floor. The way the house is set up on her property and the way the land is and the way the house shape is, it only lends itself to build on the northeast side of the property. And the addition was enclosed into the wetlands buffer. I will note that the wetland buffer is only a Woodstock wetlands. It's not New York State DEC or federal wetlands. It's just a Woodstock seasonal type stream.
We had Butch out there and he looked at it and he didn't see any concerns that or red flags that.
Just needs a
bother him.
wetlands and water course.
yeah, I checked and you're not in a flood zone, so
No
I was
flood
kind
zone.
of surprised, but that's what FEMA state said.
Okay, so while the board's looking it over, basically the way this works is we have a wetlands and water course inspector, who's also the building inspector, who has obviously looked at the site. Sent the recommendation to us for review. Normally, we would ask the first question, is there any way to avoid that by building off of another corner of the house? But I think that's been answered for us.
What's the answer?
Well, that's.
We tried a lot of different
There's-
options, as it relates to the internal.
I can put that
Layout
up on
of
the
the
screen.
The north side of the house is all garage, and you wouldn't want to walk through your garage to get to your kitchen, that type of thing. And there's a
So-
steep slope this way with all the views, we wouldn't want to block it. And then the way the house roof is, it's almost
Oh,
impossible.
the
to
garage is
connect.
over here,
Yes, where the cars are parked, it's all garage.
and if you did it off to the right side, it really wouldn't be any better, would it?
No, it really doesn't work.
Because the stream is running right along there. Is there a little waterfall or something? Is there a little waterfall or
A
something?
little waterfall.
Yeah, the map shows a
It's hard to see.
rather dense little bit of.
Yeah.
of-
Previous owner carved out a little grotto, I guess you
Yeah.
call it, that you could sit.
Like a Japanese
Yeah.
cold plunge.
If you look at it, wherever we build here would kind of be towards the water plus the pool. We wouldn't want to build anywhere off the garage, and we don't want to build at the front of the house. You don't,
You know, it doesn't look the same
so,
from the air,
no, not at all.
because from the air, it looks like, from your drawing, it looks like you're doing it this way.
We are,
Okay,
but we're hitting that dark purple corner by a little bit, and it's, like I said, it's the buffer area.
well, this is, I think, in this stream anyway. So,
So,
When we
yeah,
did our existing conditions, there was no water at all.
so like I was saying, the wetlands and water course inspector obviously looked at the site. Now, I'm not gonna ask the planning board to go out and double guessing, but obviously the point is, is the stream bank gonna be, compromised in any way? And that's our concern, that you get erosion and so on and so
Especially
forth.
when it's as close as it looks like it is to the little steep drop off where the
Right.
waterfall is.
And the other thing I
But that
noticed
may
that,
not be an accurate, you know,
It's a little off, and we would obviously do silt fencing and all of that during construction to minimize everything.
but you're talking about down the road, whether the embankment is stable, right?
right. Um,
Oh,
I mean, the other thing is I noticed that it's not, a surveyor didn't locate the creek. So we're just taking.
We
what
did the
see.
best we could with it. We actually, Kelly went out there and measured herself to the edge of the little grotto and anything that we could, there's nothing there now. So it's a little hard to really put your finger on.
triangulate, measure
I'm
like
trying
every
to see
single
what I can
corner.
see. Well, from
And
what I can
all
see
of
from the
So-
air, I mean, this is.
The reason I bring up the
Photograph.
point about
Photograph.
it not being surveyed is that technically what we need to do is to know the exact square footage of the buffer that you're impacting so that we can add that square footage to further buffer the creek on your property. So,
If you look at the photograph here, I don't know what this little greenish line is. I would assume that's actually the stream,
yeah,
the way it looks to the camera.
Right.
So it's coming right in around there.
Building, we're taking down that lower shed roof and coming
This
out,
one here,
yeah, and coming out almost as far as her garden. And
which is
that's
what
about-
that dark area right there.
No, the actual mulch area.
Oh, so that's the extent of it?
Yeah, we're 25 feet off
Okay.
off the main roof, not the shed roof
Got
or
it,
hip roof.
got it.
so how many feet from the
Hard to
edge
tell
of the new
scale.
building to the bank of the creek?
So from the big part, at this corner, we're about 21 feet, and the other side, we're about 13 feet
The buffer
to
is,
the edge
the
of
buffer's a total of
30
feet.
feet. So you're
I'm just
basically
drawing a
15
line
feet
here
into
to
the
see.
buffer, so you're gonna have to calculate the square footage of the buffer that you're impacting, so that we can put on the map that square footage.
You're gonna give it
Somewhere
back
else.
somewhere else.
Okay,
Okay.
my little
That's,
ruler.
that's the
says
wetlands
22 feet
negotiation,
out to
kind
the
of
edge of
doing the
garden. Of
thing.
course, that's
It,
very
with the
precise.
Of
wetlands,
course, and ours
because
is
you're
25
protecting
is
the
the
property.
point, so we're not
When you
really.
say give it back, can you explain what that means?
So on the plans, right now you have what you're proposing to do. It's a 30-foot buffer. You want to encroach upon the buffer. You need to calculate what that dimensions are that you're going to be
So let's-
within that buffer.
Let's say we're,
So then
we
we're
have
gonna
200
make that
square
buffer larger. Yes, we're gonna make that buffer larger and you're gonna put on that property this spot that you're gonna untouch. It's not gonna be touched by construction and it's gonna match that because to use that buffer, you're giving back this land.
So like, just
It's-
as
I-
an example, if this was like 200 square feet or something, I would go here.
Yeah,
Give you
so
back some land.
whatever you have that you're using here, you're gonna, exactly, you're gonna give us some more, you're gonna
And
tax
say
it
I'll
somewhere.
never build there. Oh, that's
so,
easy.
Yes,
so.
and
this-
that, whatever
this
makes
is-
sense for you guys.
That little corner is in the buffer, so you could put it here.
It's considered the area of disturbance and you're gonna give it, yes.
Yeah,
So
when
you're
there's
just
no water in the
replacing
stream,
the
it's hard to
buffer.
measure it. It's kind of going down, it's kind of going down toward the bottom of
Do
the
you-
stream.
You know what's
Do you
interesting?
wanna
though?
do a site visit?
Well, we can ask the board, but
What's 25
this
and
isn't
then
getting filed, because this
Right,
isn't
but
a
this is
subdivision or a
written,
lot line
it goes
revision.
back this way.
So this
This is
map
just
is
a
not
wet-
gonna be filed.
No, it's just a wetlands and water course and it's with us. And on file, wetlands and water course will be on file. So anytime anybody else goes to build on it, it's on file. That's the beauty of it.
Right.
If you look at that picture, it shows that nice,
Well, our filing system.
that's pretty much our addition.
I mean,
But
my
I mean,
little
once
ruler
they
says from
change
here
the
to
map,
there is 21 feet.
It's
It
in
goes
a
in,
file
it
system.
goes in our
Going
file,
this
that's
way.
it,
And building.
and building, right.
And building.
21 feet.
And building's good about like
No.
putting
Up toward the
like our case
edge of the
numbers,
first
so it
rectangle, the
prompts,
left-hand
there's
rectangle.
something there.
Which is the left.
Okay, hold on.
That's why
So
we
this
try to
is the edge
detail
of the
it.
house,
Right.
and we're coming out 25 feet.
My ruler shows the edge of that
Oh, I
garden,
see.
it's
This
21
This was
feet
really
this way,
no
so they're
other
going
appropriate
another
place
4
for the
feet in.
addition,
And of course, over to the
existing
side here.
addition.
And the rest of this,
You know,
I'm
look
sorry,
at
I'm darkening,
I was a water course
is going
inspector.
kind of
That
down
would be
toward the
different.
bottom of my screen.
Sorry, Peter.
Down that way,
Sorry, Peter.
kind of goes this way.
So planning board members, do you guys feel you need to do a site visit or want to do a site visit? I mean, as I say, I'm taking the water course inspector's word for it's okay. But if you guys feel you should do a site visit. Creighton, what do you feel?
I think it's fine. That gets water once in a while.
If you're confident in the recommendations of the water course people, then.
What kind of a foundation is this new addition gonna have?
It'll be confident.
Pour concrete.
So slab on grade or,
No.
No, because of the way the slope is,
Right.
there'll be some.
so it'll be a
challenge.
crawl space or a full foundation?
We might end up with like a full basement. in the front.
That's gonna be tricky that close to the creek,
Yeah.
but that's the building department.
You've
They're
got
gonna
some
have
risk
to
of water in there.
Fence, you got to put silt fence
Oh, absolutely.
along the creek,
We always.
yeah.
But you'd also have some risk of water in there if there's a lot of rain. Because you're practically at the level of.
So when you're
the stream.
revising your plans to put a little note on there that silk fencing will be used during all construction.
And the material that you take out when you're digging the foundation, that material has to not leak back into the creek somehow.
Oh, absolutely.
So it either has to be set aside. If you remove it from the site, you actually need a special permit for that, I think, to actually
Now,
remove it.
what's the little building across the creek? That belongs to the property, obviously it belongs to the property.
People live there.
So you're talking about adding buffer.
Oh,
But
Are we talking
basically what'll
about adding
happen,
buffer somewhere?
what'll happen is
Adding
you'll
wetlands?
redraw, I mean, you'll put on this map, just like we said, that 200 square feet, whatever it is, on a buffer, so it can get filed with the town. Because it's not going to the county, because there's no flat line revision or anything. Board members have questions? More questions? Any questions?
It would be nice if there was an alternative, but it's a pretty tight spot on that particular site, even though the site is not all that tight.
It's been drawn since summer.
So we can bring back your revised plans. Or do you wanna,
We could waive further review.
we could, and you and I
It's up
could
to you
just check
guys.
the
What,
plans.
what do you feel? the
Well, they have
board-
to show us that they're gonna, where they're gonna put the new buffer, right?
Right. Do we wanna waive pending Peter and Melissa's approval of the final plan?
Well,
if-
can
if-
I just say something? I'm trying to go forward with the planning. They've been drawing this to try and avoid this issue for a year now. And I put so much cost and expense into this project, and I finally just said, let's go and hear from you guys before I spend another dime. If I'm
Fair
gonna have to wait again, I mean, that's fine, I understand, that's not my call, but I just want, like, it.
Well, you're in the right place. You need a wetlands and water course permit. You're in the right place.
Yeah.
And we have to revise your drawings a little bit if it seems they know exactly what we want, and that's just to abide by the law. Okay, Kelly, I see your face, okay.
So board members, what do you feel?
Just to be clear, do we have to come back or are we getting approval?
Well, that's what we're discussing.
that's
We're
what
right
we're
now.
discussing right now,
Okay,
and I'd like to move that we waive further review.
Board members, what do you feel? Wait further review?
Subject to your seeing the revised drawing?
Yeah, well,
us
they have to
doing it,
sign
Yeah,
it
see the
anyway.
revised drawing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
that means
That means that you do not have to come back to a meeting. The planning board is waiting for the review. But on the condition that these maps are going to come back to me with the revisions of the area of disturbance, the other items that we mentioned, the construction, the silt fencing. And then they will have to be approved by Peter. He will come and
Sign
hang with
it,
me in
yeah.
my
But you
office
don't
and we'll
have to
take care of
wait a
it.
month
So
for
within the
another
next few, they give me the drawings and then give me a week or two and then we'll get them back to Butch and you can start with it.
I can come down anytime to sign it.
We'll get it to you as fast as we possibly
All
can.
right, yeah, perfect.
All right, we're up
Or I
there.
can,
We
or you
stop
can
by.
drop off,
Yeah.
yeah, call me, drop them off, there's mailboxes here too, and
Right.
And
Yeah.
so the buffer amount, where we want to put the buffer and the silt fencing.
yep, the calculator, the thing, and you can call me and I can walk you through all that.
Grounding.
Yep, and then Peter will just have to approve them, but that's one revision that they have to make on your plans, and then you should be good to go.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And then once I have those, I'll issue the wetlands and water course permit.
In the
Or,
larger
back
scheme of
with what?
things, this is not difficult.
no, it's an addition of an existing house, yes. Thank you very
And
much.
and it's an intermittent stream.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
I
New Year.
mean, Judy, from the way you look at that, there's no bank there.
And
You know, it's
just
pretty-
as an aside that
Right.
maybe beyond the point, we really try to do everything to make it fit in with the area and the existing home. We really went out of the way.
You got it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
mean, there's a couple of little drop offs, but other than that, it's not a very steep.
Not a
area.
steep bank.
I know Butch spent quite a bit of time out there too,
Did he?
because we talked about it. Yeah. Because I said, how big of a deal is this when I saw it? Yeah.
All right, what do we got?
Approve
Yeah.
the draft
No,
resolution.
there's a 30.
Oh, the
there's a
Ellender
30 foot
resolution.
paragraph still.
Judy, you want to make a motion to approve the draft resolution?
I move we approve the draft resolution for Mrs.
The
Parker.
Elander Trust.
Oh, for the Elander Trust, yes.
Second,
Thank you. Aye.
do we have approval
All in
Aye.
to the
favor?
motion as seconded?
Aye.
Hi.
All right, aye.
Do you have anything else you guys want to talk about? Or is that it? Is that it?
You guys, and ladies are ready, we could do an adjournment.